Happy 2025, and with the new year comes some reminders, things that I'm not going to buy in 2025 on my Royal Caribbean cruise. Let's talk about them up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. As somebody that cruises for a living, there are a few things that I never buy for a cruise. Now, when it comes to going on a cruise, there's many choices in how you spend your money. And to be clear, I'm not someone who shies away from spending money on add-ons. There are some people out there who are like, I'll never spend money on a cruise. The cruise fare should include everything. I'm not one of those people. I enjoy the idea of splurging a little bit. It is vacation. It's an opportunity to enjoy things and kind of, get out there a little bit. What I've included in this list are either cruise add-ons I think overall are not worth it, as well as something that simply doesn't mesh with my style of cruising. So consider this a glimpse into my thought process, and perhaps it's something to consider before you purchase something in the cruise planner. Number one are the arcade credits, and I don't recommend them because I feel like they end up being wasteful. Now, over the years, we've gone through many iterations of the arcade over Royal Caribbean cruise ships. As my kids have gotten older, we've spent maybe less time in the arcade than usual, but we still go there. And the problem with the pre-purchase arcade credits is that they don't really work the way I think we intend them to do that. So Royal Caribbean sells arcade credits to save a few dollars off total price, but my issue is how much you actually get to use the item. You won't know which arcade games are actually on your ship until you board the ship. And that means your kids might love or hate the options there. More problematic is the fact that quite often, a subset of arcade games are out of order. So it's not unusual for a handful of games to be broken, and that reduces the choices available. The other problem is that all the games have different credit requirements, and I have found with the arcade packages, you end up with unused credits because there's a remainder balance, and it becomes a challenge to use them all. So instead of buying arcade credit packages before the cruise, I think it's a much better idea to simply swipe and play games a la carte. It ensures you don't have any leftover credits, and there are games to play with my kids that we actually want to play, and not we're playing games because, well, we have credits for that. Plus, if we run out of time or just never make it to the arcade, I'm not worried about losing that arcade credit investment. Number two, I feel like the photo packages are really too restrictive. I think a photo package might be a really good purchase for larger families, but it's something that I have stopped buying. Now, I have no issue with the photo package value, but I have found that we stop taking many professional photos while we cruise. On an average sailing, if we take 2 or 3 photos in the entire sailing, it's a miracle. This is partly because we often cruise enough, we aren't worried about getting photos, since we can always go and get more photos on a cruise coming up very, very soon. And partly because sometimes the lines for the photo sessions are quite long, especially for the evening photos. The other lesser known detraction of a photo package is someone in your cabin needs to be in the photo for it to be included. Meaning, if you're traveling with friends and family, unless one person from your cabin is in the photo, that would not be included in the package. So if you're booked on a cruise with you and your kids, and your parents are staying in another cabin, unless someone from your cabin is in the photo with your parents, the photo doesn't count. So if your parents want to take photos by themselves, that doesn't get included in your photo package. If you're new to cruising or don't cruise very often, a photo package can be a great purchase, but personally, I stopped buying it. Next on my list of things that I'm not buying in 2025, and I don't think you should either, are bus tours. Of all the short excursions you can take, a bus tour is arguably the least worthwhile purchase. Bus tours sound like it could be a really good way to see a port, but you're going to be in a large group, and the bus may not actually stop at the places you want to go to. Moreover, the time you have at each stop is inevitably either too short or too long. What if you want to linger longer and explore more, or completely skip that tourist trap souvenir shop near that scenic view? Plus, you may not need a bus tour to enjoy your day. You could take a cab, walk, explore on foot, or even book a smaller tour without the crowds. This is especially true in places like Europe or anywhere you're docked in a big city where you're already right in the middle of everything. Next on my list are animal encounter shore excursions. Now, my views on the use of animals for the purpose of tourist meets have changed, and I don't have any desire to book a tour that involves captive animals. I'm referring to dolphins and other marine wildlife that you can meet in an enclosure. Now, I have no problem with whale, bear, or other animal watching tours that are in the wild, but besides the crazy prices charged for these excursions that I'm referring to, I find the issue with having captive animals on display for the purposes of tourists being able to interact with them not really, I think, appropriate, and so I won't book any of them. There's no doubt the next thing on my list is something that I think most people end up booking on a cruise anyway, and that is the key. And the problem with the key is that it offers a VIP program to get you special benefits, but it just sounds better than it really is. I have found repeatedly guests can achieve similar results on their own without a bit of advanced planning, of course, but I think the money is better spent elsewhere. Prior to embarkation and embarkation day, Just get an early check-in time when check-in times become available 45 days before the cruise starts, and you'll be among the first to board the ship. Chops Grill lunch on embarkation day, you can book that on your own and probably get it for a really good price if you time it right during one of Royal Caribbean sales. Priority for signature activities, it's always available for the less desirable activities like the flow rider and the rock wall, and the times are never convenient. It's either really early in the morning or around dinner time, and these are times when lines are naturally shorter anyway. The appeal of the key is to buy it and then not have to do anything else, because it includes Wi-Fi, and sometimes the price is barely more than buying just the Wi-Fi package. But I really think the benefits look better on paper than they are in practice, and I'm willing to bet a lot of people that buy the key aren't the ones that are getting it at that price just above the Wi-Fi package. They're the ones that see VIP, bam, I want that, that's my style, and then they end up disappointed with the purchase. So even in 2025, I would recommend skipping purchasing the key. Something else I think also looks better on paper than in reality are those casitas. No one likes to compete for a deck chair and a sea day, but the casitas that you'll find on Royal Caribbean cruise ships are really expensive for what you get. Now, beyond the price, I think casitas are located too far away from the actual pool. Usually, they're on the upper pool deck, which, of course, the pool is actually on the lower pool deck, and they have no walls, which means there isn't always shade provided. The price is cheaper on port days, but you probably don't need to worry about getting a seat at the pool on a port day because so many other passengers are off the ship. Next on my list is the Up, Up, and Away helium balloon ride at Perfect Day Coco Cay is pretty much too unreliable to actually need to book. The chances that the Up, Up, and Away helium balloon is actually operational on the day that you visit Perfect Day at Coco Cay are pretty low. Now, if I'm talking about the helium balloon that takes guests 450 feet above the ground, providing the highest vantage point in the Bahamas, this sounds really amazing. And it is, but it rarely operates. The balloon requires near perfect weather conditions to operate, and in my experience, again, I cruise a lot, it rarely goes up. The reason I don't buy it is because you can't count on it, and I'd hate for you to pass up on something else in favor of the balloon. Like, you're looking at other options, you're like, no, I'm not going to book the beach club, or I'm not going to book the zip line or the water park because I've already got the helium balloon ride booked. That would be a major problem. So if you want to try your luck, I'd skip buying it in advance. And if you happen to be at Perfect Day, that day of your cruise, and you spot the balloon in the air, you can always head over and book a ticket on the spot. Obviously, you pay a little bit more for it, but there's less disappointment in that scenario. Something else I don't think you should be doing in 2025 are buying one of those watches that you can find on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Now, I've yet to actually buy one myself, but the stories I've heard from other cruisers likely ensure I'll never do that. Many people have a watch addiction, and you'll find plenty of watches in the onboard jewelry stores. The problem is how much they are actually worth. There are a lot of stories of guests feeling bamboozled after buying a watch on a ship. Just like the art auction, I think you should buy something because you think it'll look nice to own, not because you think it's a good investment. Ultimately, when you pick what you're going to spend your money on a cruise, it's up to your style. There are people that enjoy things that I absolutely could not imagine enjoying on a cruise or anywhere for that matter, but it's your vacation. The thing is, I hope that this list encompasses things that are truly poor values or bad ideas, because I find that it tends to lead to more disappointment than jubilation. I did not include certain specialty restaurants that personally I don't care for, but I understand that other people might enjoy, because again, I'm looking for things that I think are more universal in that regard. But on that note, let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts? What are things you're absolutely not going to buy in 2025? And if you're new to cruising, let me know in the comments below, what is something you're eyeing? Something maybe you weren't sure you were going to buy, or something you didn't expect to buy, but it looks really enticing. Maybe we can help you out with whether or not it's a good buy. While you're down below our comments, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. We'll talk again real soon.